Now we are into our integrated development environment, and here we are going to make some elaboration about about array and the one-dimensional array in C. So first we need to declare the array. So for declaring the array, first we have to declare the data type of the array. Me in this case, I'm using data type say int, and to the array name I am giving say a, and here in the bracket, big bracket, I have to declare the size of the array. So I'm using 5 for the size of the array. And first I need to do over here is to initialize the array. So for initialization of the array, I have to use curly bracket, and here I have to assign the element of the array as to say 11 is the first element, 45 is the second element, then 47 is the third element, then 12 is the say fourth element, and say 89 is the fifth element. So that is assigned to the array. Now if I write a line here say print f, and if I say I would like to display the element of the array, so for this I have to use the format. Then here in this format has to be written within the double quote, so %d, and if I write here say a, so what it's going to display me over there, as we have done in the previous case of variable. So save your changes here and go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and it is showing me nothing. It is showing, basically it's showing the address of the variable a. This is that value, not showing the element of the array. So for that, what I have to do, I have to a, and here I have to put the index number whose value I would like to display at there. So for that, if I use index number 0, save your changes and execute, choose compile and run, and here you see the first element is displayed over here, because the first element, when we assign the element to the array, they are subscribed. So subscribed means the first element of the array is stored at the index 0, then second is stored at this first index, then third element is stored at second, and the last element of the array is stored at the index number 1 less than the size of the array. So if I write here say 4, so what it going to display me, save your changes, go to compile and run, and it's displaying me 89, because 89 is stored at index number 4. What happen if I write 5 here? So save your changes and go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and this time it is showing me nothing. 0 is displayed over there, just because of the reason nothing is stored at the index number 5. So this is how we can display the value of an array using printf function. If we want to display all the value of the array in one go, for that I have to use the concept of loop. So for that I am writing here say, if declaring variable another say int I to count its index number. So here I write a loop, say for loop, for initially I is equal to say 0, the index number 0, then I less than 5, because index number is less than 1 less the size of the array, so that is up to 4, and then I have to increment the value of I by 1 to loop it. Then here we have to put the curly bracket for this, and I'll cut this line from here using Control X, and here we go paste this using Control V, and here I have to put the value of I. So save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run this time, and it displaying me the value 11, 45, 47, 12 and 89. So if I want the tab space between them, then I have to use the \t escape sequence, save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and you will get the output like this way. And if you want your element to display in each new line, then you have to use the escape sequence \n, save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run. So this way you will get the output here in this case. So if same way I would like to read the if I will not assign this value, or if I will not initialize the array and I want the user to input the element of the array using the keyboard, then I have to use the scanf function for that. So I'm not declaring the size of this, or I'm not initializing this array. What I have done, I have simply declared the array and I have simply given the size to this array. So here I'm using the scanf function to enter the element to the arrays. For that I am going to display one message over here, say enter the say I want to display the first element of the array, second element of the array, then all this. So for that I am using %d, enter, I say first element, second element. So for that I am using the message enter the element of an array, and here I use \n, and here it is to be element of the array. Then here I have to use I plus 1. Then I'm here using scanf function for reading the element of the array. For this I have to use first the format in which we wanted to read. So %d is the format, then put the comma, then we have to use the address operator here, that is a %, and here we have to give the name of the array in which we wanted to assign, and we want to assign it according to its index number. So index number start from 0, so we are counting it using the integer variable, that is I. So here we put the value of I, and at the end here we put the semicolon. Okay, so after this I would like to display the value that we have entered through the keyboard. So for that I'm using copying this, for that I'm using another loop to display its value. So for that I'm using here printf function, the enter, here I write message entered elements of an array are, and here it is simple message for this, and here in the last time is using \n escape sequence, and here I write another printf function, and here I am using the format, that is %d format, and here I have to give the reference of the variable according to I would like to display the element, and save the changes. Again go to save button here and go to execute, then choose compile and run this time, Here we got the error just because of the reason this E is unexpected here. So this E should be here. That is a mistake. So save your changes. After correction, go to execute, then choose again compile and run. So it's showing me the message enter the first element of an array. So I'm entering here say 45, then enter the second element of an array, so I'm entering say 85, enter the third element, so I'm entering 63, entering the fourth element, then I'm entering 24, then enter the fifth element of the array, so I'm entering here say 48. Now it is showing me the message enter element of NAR and again. So I don't want this line to be in the loop. Okay, so I don't want this line to be in the loop. So what I'm doing, here, cut it from here using Control X and write this line out of the loop. So save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run this time, and enter the first element. I'm entering 12, enter the second element 13, I'm entering 4, then 45, then 56. So it's displaying me like enter element of an array or this. So same procedure here I have to use backslash t to put the tab space between them. So save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and enter the first element. So I'm entering 11, then 22, then 33, then 44, then 55, and here it is displaying the value. The enter element of an array are. So this way what we have done, we have declared the array and we have read the element to the array using the keyboard, and then we have displayed the value of the elements of the array using the for loop. So if we try to understand the code over here, we have declared a array with the data type as integer and size 5. Here we have taken another variable I, that is for the counting or to count the index number. So we know that the index number of an array always start from 0, so that's why we have set the value I is equal to 0 and I less than 5. Means if the size of the array is 5, then its index number go from 0 to 4. So we have put the loop up to I less than 5, and then we are incrementing the value of I by 1. So here it is showing me the message. So here we have written printf enter the, here it will display the value of element array. So I plus 1 is written over here because I just wanted to display the message that is enter the first element of the array. So as we know that I is 0, that is index 0, so we want the first element to be as I plus 1, that's why I have written here I plus 1. Then we are reading the value of I using its index number, and first value will be assigned to the index 0, then second will be assigned to the index 1, then or so on, and the last value will be assigned to the index number 4, and according to that we have displayed the values of the array. So this is how we can use the array to read and or for input and output in using C. So one more thing that we are going to do with array over here for your explanation, I'm just using, say here I'm writing, if I write here and assign the value 0 to this, and if I write here for, and I'm taking another variable say int I for the counting, and here I write for loop, and here I say I is equal to 0, then I less than 5, then I plus plus, and here in this I'm writing printf %d. Here we have to put the format, and here I use \t as escape sequence to display its element, and here I am just using array to display its value according to its index number. Then put the semicolon at the end, save your changes here again and go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and here we see the error is that in function before expected. Okay, so the error here is that is we have to put the comma here. So save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and here we go. So it's showing me the error here is 0 0 0. So it will assign, what it will do, it will assign a single value to all of its index. If I write 1, if now the array, the size of array we have declared as 5 now, and to that I have initialized value equal to 0. It will consider that 0 is value assigned to all the subscript of an array. So if I change this value to somebody else, it will consider it to be the same. Say if I assign this value as 7 here and save changes, then go to execute menu, choose compile and run. So it will display me the value 7 and rest of the value become 0 0 0. Okay, the 7 is assigned to the index number 0 because here if we assign the first value, then it will be to the index number 0. If I write here comma and assign one more value, say 0 7 and 9, so in this case the 7 will be assigned to the index number 0, 9 will be assigned to the index number 1, and to the rest it will be considered to be as empty. So go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and here you see, okay, here you see the result. So one more thing that we will try to understand over here is that say we declare the size of array equal to say 2, and to this I will assign one or some more value, say 8 comma 6. What will happen in this case? So let's try to see here. Save the changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and this time it is showing me error 7913. So if I select this and here if I see the result, it's showing me 7913 and some unappropriate value. This is just because of the reason we have declared the size of array is equal to 2, but here we are looping it up to less than equal to 5, so we have to loop it up to less than 2. So see what happened here in this case. Save your changes here and go to execute, choose compile and run this time, and it will display me the value that is 7 and 9. No else value are displayed over there because they are not stored at any index. Okay, 7 is stored at index 0, 9 is stored at index 1, whereas 8 and 6 are not stored at any index just because of the reason the size of the array is 2 and it is having only 2 subscript, that is 0 and 1. Now let's make a better understanding of this single dimension array. So for this I am declaring the variable here, say char, and the variable name here I am using as a name, and to this I am assigning the size as say 10. Put the semicolon here, and so what I want here again the same method in which, so as before we have seen there that when we declare a variable of type char, it assign only the value of 1 byte or 1 character can be stored here. So if we wanted to enter the name in a program, so for that we have to use the concept of array, where which can store more characters in the same data type. So here, but I have to write simply. I'm using a counter for this. So for that I'm declaring a variable I. So here I'm writing a message for user printf, say enter your name. So put the \t here and put the semicolon here, and here we have to give the size, say less than 10, and here we say variable name accordingly that, and after that we have to display its value. So for that I am using another for loop. For initially I is equal to 0, I less than 10, and I has to be incremented by 1. And then here we'd like to display its value. So for that I'm using printf function. Here we have to use %s, sorry, format for that is say %c for the character. Then here we have to use array name, and then according to the value of I have to display its element. And here we have to go with the scanf function. So first here we want to read, so instead of this we have to use scanf function. Scanf function %, then here we don't have to use the escape sequence, and here we have to use the address operator. So save your changes for now and go to execute menu, choose compile and run. So here we are having the mistake, and here is mistake that it should be 0 not O. So here we have to put the 0. Save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run. So it is asking me enter your name. So somebody enter here name as say John or Mohan. Nothing, it's displaying over here. As we can see here that we are not getting the desired output there, just because of the reason we have committed one mistake over here. Here we have used the format %d, whereas instead of we are declaring the variable as of type char, so we have to use the format here as a %c instead of %d. So that is the mistake, that's why we are getting the error there. So after that save your changes, go to execute menu, choose compile and run, and this time I'm entering the value say Mohan Singh, then enter. Here it is displaying we have entered the value Mohan Singh. It is showing that is Mohan SING. H is not stored over there, just because of the reason how many we have declared the size equal to 10. So here we see 1 2 3 4 5, then space is also considered to be as character, so this will become 6. So it's 7 8 9 and 10. So what we have to do, if we wanted to store the name as Mohan Singh, then we have to increase the size of the array. So for that, if I say this is equal to 15, and here I have to declare size again 15, and here I have to declare the size again 15. So save your changes this time and go to execute menu and choose compile and run, and here we save, enter the value, say Mohan Singh. So it's showing me Mohan Singh, then space there, as we know that the size over there. Now we have declared the size Mohan Singh is to be occupied in 11, so we have declared the size of 15. So that's why we have to put two extra enter over there to put the skip sequences over there. So this is how we can use single dimension array and use single dimension array in C. So that's all for now. See you soon in the next video.